and then
Okay.
share. Okay.
Do that then.
Got it. Whereas I think like when at work, when we have our Zoom meetings and our meetings at work, I think that they record it to the cloud there because then it saves it. We can all go back in and recheck it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So here's my thing. I'm really struggling with location right now. For I'm
Clearly, obviously, so am I.
I have I have this all set up on my altar, and I
Uh-huh.
really wish that like my altar could be in the view. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Have something set up to where your altar is like behind you. So almost set up something in that opposite corner that looks like it's your closet, or set something up, a table up underneath the window or something, and then have like maybe a side angle.
okay, hold on. Look, I have like a computer desk. Let me go grab it real quick. 1 second. I want to see how this looks. I don't want to knock anything off. Hold on.
Yeah, see, I think that that works good if that's enough space for you. But oh, can you hear me? Sorry. If that's
Yeah.
enough space for you, I think that works good. But does that give you space for the rock part?
So the thing I'm thinking is if I do it like right off to the side here,
Oh yeah.
um, hold on. Let me move this. I got like an incense burning, so I don't want to like catch my curtain on fire.
But also
Um,
not too bad with the light coming. Makes me look like an angel. Oh.
so I was thinking I could just turn right here and pull cards. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, let me
Hey,
grab those decks really quick too. Hold on. I thought I had those over here. I'm an idiot. Hold on.
I have all of my. Where did she want? She wants to start with.
Okay. So angle is everything. Okay, so this right here,
Uh-huh.
this painting is a black wing or red winged blackbird, and I see them everywhere. I don't exactly remember what the spiritual meaning is of it because I look it up all the time and I always forget.
I always forget. I always forget everything. That's yeah.
But I was at my friend's garage sale like last week,
Mhm.
and she had that painting for sale there. And
Wow.
it was her tattoo artist drew that or painted it, whatever. I don't know if I feel like maybe it's pen. But anyways, he did that, and I just knew I had to have it, and I put it at my altar. So
So that is so awesome.
yeah,
Like, I like that. I think that that works well. I think that works well. Yeah, this space when you come to visit, you'll see this space. I just love the coziness of this space up here, and right now it's just kind of I've converted. It's kind of is like my space. It's become like my bed. Like all the things that I have, that's just kind of extra and like whatever, and like I downsize, like you do when you move in with someone, and so it's
yeah,
become like the guest room and that and whatever. But I'm really have been thinking that I really want to convert it into like my Reiki studio, and like if we really get going with this, have it be my recording studio because it's got carpet in it, and so the acoustics are much better in it
right.
too. And yeah, so I just need to figure out how to still have a guest room somewhere of some sort. He's like,
Which will be difficult.
he doesn't get it. He's like, why do you need? That just means people don't come. It's fine. Like, we get an air mattress. You can throw it in the middle. I'm like, yeah, But I mean, I get it. I mean, and it's like we do have the camper. Like my mom stayed in the camper, and that actually worked a lot better. So I don't know. Yeah, I might just go ahead and break down and convert this, get rid of this bed, because also the mattress is not super comfortable. I might just convert this into my space. I might need you to come down for a weekend and help me do it.
I'm
Because
down. I am
yeah,
down.
yeah,
I
you know,
yeah, now that I don't work on weekends, I will be able to travel more. I need to go down and visit Tiff too.
have you guys talked finally? Are you guys both
Yeah,
in my? Okay, good.
yeah. No, we're on better terms now. So,
Mm.
um, what do you have?
What do I have? Like,
Yeah, what are you pulling?
oh, you said you wanted to start with fairy gems, so that's what I started with. So I just kind of started rolling with it.
Okay.
So, and we got right out, we got rock crystal and blood, and I'm not sure. And rock crystal is 20, nope, 32. 5 here. You see that? Yeah, look at that, mama. That's the rock crystal.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous.
So that's that. And then we've got the bloodstone, which is very interesting because if you look,
Oh yeah. And it looks like a bloodstone.
I feel like she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's see what these are. Let's see what these say. Interesting. Vision, focus, intent, entry to fairy. Uh, this is your entry to the fairy realm, a piece of its magic that lingers in our world. Fairy tales tell of fairy palaces where the walls and goblets, fountains, and amazing balls are all carved from clearest rock crystal, also known as clear quartz. Sometimes you
Mm.
can even see a fairy's delicate form in the phantoms inside a crystal. A clear quartz crystal can be the conductor for fairy energy, allowing the fairies to come through to you.
Okay.
So it's most elevated with light workers, highly revered among fairy folk. Just trying
I don't,
to.
I don't know what's going on, but we're getting some feedback all of a sudden whenever you
That
talk.
that might have been the AC unit kicking off. Please pause.
Okay.
Let me go turn
Please
that.
pause.
Yeah, so that's going to be the other thing with the space up here is that um, it's going to be very, when it starts getting warm, it's going to be very warm. So I'm just, oh, I've got that oscillating fan though. That seems to do okay. That should be okay. I can just get it really cold before I record and then just have the fan going.
Yeah, I had that issue when I lived in Hesperia too. Uh,
Yeah.
when I was doing things that needed to be recorded.
Mhm.
Um, I had to get the room really cold first,
Right.
turn it off, record.
Yeah, I think that that's what is going to be. Yeah. So I think that I feel like I don't need to read anymore on that card. Like I went to go look and I was like, no, that's it. That's all you need to know. Which is very interesting that we pulled that entry into the fairy realm, being that that's kind of like what we're trying to kick this off with. It's like, okay, and here you are, go.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I've been talking about how I want to like tap into more of the Fae energy
Mhm.
lately, and I just don't even know how to do it. And then all of a sudden we were like, let's record together. Like we're both running into issues with our previous podcast, so
Yeah,
let's just do it. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I told
Yeah,
Michael that it was weird. It's like we were both kind of bitching. She was telling me about, her and what she wanted to do. And I was like, oh God, that sounds so similar to my son. And then
yeah,
it's like, we talk all the time and we have cool stuff. Why don't we just not just do it? Yeah.
yeah.
So bloodstone, uh, giving strength, fertility, opening, courage, creative manifestation.
Mm,
Bloodstones have always been associated with magic and their connection with fairy and ancient. In the South Scottish Hebrides, which is funny because I'm Scottish, uh,
mm,
uh, there were stories of fairies known as Ferchil or the Nimblemen or Merry Dancers. Two of the Fae clan once fought over a fairy maiden, and the blood of the wounded that fell to earth was said to be solidified and form bloodstones. I'm having a really hard time putting words together. Like my brain is reading the words faster than my mouth can get them out.
well, I think these booklets too with the Fae, like they're worded very weird. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, there's sometimes that I just read. I feel like I'm reading like a second grader because my brain literally is reading faster than my mouth can get the words out. So I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
slow.
I'm a little bit dyslexic, so
Me
when I
too.
read, yeah.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic on a lot of things.
Mhm.
So bloodstones were also talisman used to help women to give birth safely. Suffering. So it's manifestation. The stone of great strength, and its fairy comes to you at those times when strength and courage are needed. The old story form of Hebride is about the gem being born from sacrifice, a reminder of blood given freely, sacrifice transmuted into a jewel. In this aspect, the Bloodstone Fairy card may indicate that this is the time for you to make a gift or donation of something that really matters. It does not literally have to be blood. It can be your time and effort and idea.
Mm,
A warm meal, a ride when someone doesn't have transportation, help planting a garden, or a cherished stone. Anything that shifts the energy towards the highest good can manifest as a gem. This card also appears when one carries uh, nascent. What is nascent? Nascent ideas and inspiration, giving you strength to bring those ideas to fruition. The Bloodstone Fairy is a wonderful ally when you feel as if your work or ideas are under attack. She helps you have the courage of your convictions. If you ask the Bloodstone Fairy for help, know that you will need the following or the follow through to bring the gifts into this world. The Bloodstone Fairy appears to remind us of our connections of the earth and encourages us to continue our ancestors' ancient exchange, not by literally pouring blood into the ground, but by caring for the planet, protecting it as she protects us.
mm.
So I think those are two really beautiful cards to kind of start this journey with.
Yeah. I pulled some cards for us too, but I wanted to say something about that bloodstone.
Yeah.
Um, so it made me think about one, like making offerings to the fairies for our podcast, but also it made me think about how like this creation is kind of like us tapping into that energy and honoring that energy for ourselves is kind of like an offering in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I think it's
Um,
finally tapping in and realizing that we are two little lost fairies in the world.
yeah.
And we're figuring out what that means. And and just yeah, it's just interesting how everything has just kind of started rolling and playing out. And then it's like we just have this confirmation of yes, you are correct, you're a fairy. And now that you have passed the tests and the initiations of knowing that you are said fairy, let's begin learning.
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. Um, what was I gonna say?
I really think those other things fell through so that we could do this. Like the last couple of days, like just when I was talking to Michael and stuff, I was like, you know what, I think those things fell through intentionally. And maybe I was stalling, starting getting my own thing going, and I just didn't do it because like this is what was supposed to happen. Like this was what we were supposed to be doing.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I resonate with that for sure. Like, I mean, I was sad and kind of frustrated for the last like 6 months, but like I think that it's working out exactly the way that it's supposed to. And like as soon as I just let go of the like fully let go of the idea that like, hey, this, is supposed to work, we're supposed to do this, blah blah blah. Like as soon as I let go of that, this fell into our laps.
Mhm.
So it was literally like a week ago that I was just like, oh, this might not work, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool.
So I pulled a couple of cards for us as well.
Uh-huh.
And so the first card is the gnome. And I know it's hard
Oh,
to see because of the light, but
oh, yeah, right there. Oh, oh, look at him. He's an old grumpy Gus.
he looks
Yeah.
cute though. He's like an old cute guy. So
He,
it says, it's time to leap into the air, letting the earth turn beneath you and discover where you come down again. Reasonable risks are okay. Even unreasonable risks are probably okay. Use your head and look before you leap, of course, but do so understanding that the actual jump is likely to be very rewarding. No guarantees, but then there are never really any. Sorry, see, this is where it's worded weird. But
yeah.
then there never really are anyway. No matter how pretty the paper may seem to be printed on and the scroll work around the edge. In a reading, the presence of that known tells us that the forces of chaos are at work. Things may not be as they seem, and this may very well be a good thing. Look for the unexpected, find the opportunity in it, and go for it. He says that no matter how confusing things may seem, there's always a way to make them better. But in this creative way, one you haven't tried before, he says, think amazing new thoughts. And I love that.
I do too. I was like, oh, look at this. Because I feel like that just kind of confirms what we were saying, that it's like there was the chaos of the other stuff that just, didn't work. And then, yeah,
Hmm.
here we are.
And what's crazy is the gnome is card number 26, and the second card I pulled is 27. So I literally just flipped the card page over. Yeah.
Holy crap. No, wait. So I pulled one more card right after I did that, and
Hmm.
it's the opal. Tell me, where is it? Can you see? You can't see. It's number 26.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Can you see it now?
Oh, yeah. Now I can see it. Yeah. Opal. Okay.
Wait, you ready? Change, lightning, amusement, and inspiration. The
Okay.
opal is the stone of change, beloved by all tricksters. I'm definitely kind of a trick, especially fairies. I'm definitely kind of a trickster fairy. I'm always liking to play little jokes and just do little annoying little things. um, its fire mirrors much of their own true own nature. That's one of those weird wording things. Flashing with color, impossible to truly define or pinpoint down, and known to encourage those lightning like flashes of insight and intuition. So, yeah, let's see. Um, Keep in mind that the opal fairy is a trickster, sometimes known as the will o' the wisp, and her gifts can be dicey. She's been known to lead mortals astray. Uh, so you may want to avoid giving opals to those who are unstable. At this time, the opal fairy card is a wake-up call if you're caught in a lethargic or lethargy, or feelings of dullness. She's an ally for all who want a stronger connection with their own creativity and intuition, who are willing to become lost, at least for a short time, in the fairy realms. Follow my lightning, she calls. Be touched by my fire. Fall into the. That is a really big weird. Both. So I can't say that. Fall into the fancy fairy waters and emerge trailing magic and open to inspiration. I think that. for all my fumbling of words. I really feel like I need to start reading more. Because is it my brain's just moving too fast, or is it I'm just becoming dumb because I don't read enough? I mean, I read all the time. I read at work and stuff, and I'm doing reports and stuff, but like really like sitting and like truly reading. Because my eyes are so tired from working all day that I just the last thing I want to do is sit and stare at it and try to make sense of words. My brain's tired of thinking at that point. My brain's like, no thanks. I want to watch brain popcorn and play Candy Crush and not think.
No, I totally understand that. I tend to listen to books more because I just well, my eyes literally get tired as I read. So
Yeah.
like I'll be as I start yawning, of course, there's a yawn. But like I'll start yawning and my eyes will start getting heavy as I'm reading.
Hmm.
But this kind of jumps all over the place. But like I've realized recently that due to childhood trauma, it's very connected to my ability to read well. Like one of my abusers was the husband of someone who helped me learn how to read better when I was young.
Oh.
And I would go to their house
Uh-huh.
to learn how to read. And that's when the abuse started.
Uh, yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of like, you
Yeah.
know, so
It's
I,
interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
when I start reading, I think that's part of like the fight or flight response is like your body starts to shut down when you go into freeze mode. And
Yeah.
so like I think my body is literally shutting down when I'm reading.
Yeah. That would make sense. That makes sense. I mean, I don't mind. I don't have a specific thing, but my a lot of my abuse and trauma was definitely around the formative years of reading, the age 5 to 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it could have something to do with it. But I think really it's just that I'm just not using my brain enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not. I do, the computer work and I do that and I listen to a lot of things. So my brain is processing a lot of information through my ears, but my it's almost like my reading eye to brain muscle is going into atrophy because I haven't I'm not using it enough to like process big words and put big sentences together. It's like, oh, I'm getting dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like when you don't read for a long time, like you do lose that like ability to do it well,
Mhm,
like, or I'm in the same boat. I've recently started reading more often, and I think that's a lot to do with the metaphysical because I like want to read books that are metaphysically based. I'm
mhm.
reading my oracle decks, so I'm talking more out loud as I'm reading as well. So, I mean, maybe even just doing readings for people and like reading what you get out of the booklet every
Maybe
once in a while.
maybe it's just not even that. It's just reading out loud and hearing and processing the words. Maybe that's just a better practice that I just need to get at. Just and not only because it's like a good muscle memory thing like we were talking about, but because you're learning too and it's something that you're interested in, you're learning and it's so it's kind of a twofold thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not reading stupid brain popcorn stuff. Yeah, especially with some of the crazy ass words that they have in these books.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm like, Alexa, how do you pronounce this?
So the card that you just read, the 26 about change, like I was laughing when you read like the basic words that like the card meaning because
Yeah, yeah.
the second card that I pulled, 27, is uh Nalise the Alchemist, and she's beautiful, by the way.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can get her in frame. I don't know if it really will focus, but
She's like a magical fairy.
I know.
She looks like Glinda the witch from Wizard of Oz with fairy like magical fairy wings and just hair
Yeah.
just flowing off of her.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so oh, sorry.
Oh,
It
you're fine.
says inner transformation, irrevocable change. And so it's
Interesting.
yeah, so it says when Nellis Nelise, I don't know, turns up in your reading, get ready for things to happen inwardly and outwardly. The stuck becomes unstuck, and the blacked begins to move. You may have to run to keep up with the speed at which the situation around you is moving. You may also be surprised by the direction things and you are taking. You may find your plans, even your desires and dreams, changing as the transformative process takes place. It might not have been in your plans, but later on you will look back and say, wow, it wasn't what I expected, but it was just what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have been through such an alchemical process, we can never go back to what we were before, which is probably just as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful fucking card, dude.
Yeah, it is.
I love it.
I feel like we have confirmation that we are at the start of a beautiful journey, my little fairy friend.
I think so too.
So tell me, finish telling me about your reading with Karen.
Yes. Okay. I got brought. I
Speaking of
remembered to
that,
bring my booklet because I was like, I have to tell her about this.
yeah.
Okay, so I can't remember. I think we kind of talked. Did we talk at all about the business aspect?
No.
Okay, so this is like a sync for the card that we just pulled, by the way. So I just wanted to point that out where it talks about like the trapped becomes untrapped. So this is like, I don't know, something about this podcast is going to be connected to my business. I can just feel it. Like, I don't know if maybe it's like after reading this card, I should say, I've
Yeah.
come to this conclusion. I don't know if it's because I'm going to gain that confidence and that inner wisdom that I need to do it, or if it's going to somehow be tied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for business, she said, if I'm feeling trapped, it's by design. And I could be doing readings right now, but she said that there's going to be a point at the end of 2023 where like a door just swings wide open and I need to just go for it. So I
Yeah.
need to just go through the door. I don't know what that is going to be, but she said it's all going to happen at once and it's going to be like, what the fuck, you know? So, um, so there she said there's going to be an immediate moment where my dreams become effort, and then that's like, so I was kind of asking also about my living situation, and so she said that she sees me opening my business before I move out of my mom's house. um
So you started online and you moved to Dallas and we get a shop together and I do Reiki healing and we do all that. And yes, I love it. Agreed,
how
Karen. Thank you.
how am I going to move to Dallas with my daughter?
Just tell Chris to come on. Just be like, look, I think we just need to change the scenery. Let's I'm sorry, not did I say Dallas? I
You
meant
did say Dallas.
I
Are we
meant
moving to
Nashville.
Dallas now? You
Yeah.
don't even know what
No, and that's
geographical location you're in right now.
well, that's because I'm directionally dyslexic. Ask Michael, he'll tell you. I literally am directionally dyslexic. I get lost in a Cracker Jack box. Have, have I ever got around with without GPS? I will never know. But I remember I got lost a lot when we moved to Dallas when I was 18. Then that and that's a big fear of mine, being lost. So like the pure panic set in. I was lost in Dallas and I was driving like a maniac, hoping that I would get pulled over intentionally, or I could just find a cop because I was in like the ghetto of Dallas, and I was like, I don't want to. Yeah, it was a shit show. Yeah, whatever. Details.
I think I've kind of figured out like directions a little bit, but most of the time I'm just like, I have no fucking idea. Like if I'm out in the woods, I have no idea. But like um if I'm on like streets that I know, I can
Yeah.
kind of think of like, okay, which direction do these go in correlation to the state of Michigan? And then I can be like, okay, that's going north. You know what I mean? Um,
But here's my problem. I don't even know where the fuck I'm located. it in Tennessee. I can't do that. I'm like, oh, I thought we were over here. We're over there. That's not the way over there. I thought Chattanooga was that. Oh, but no wonder I'm so confused.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I don't.
Yeah, I told, and my mom was laughing. She's like, "You just finally figured out after 20 something years, you just figured out Dallas and you're going to leave and figure out a new place all over." I'm like, I mean, why not? And because Dallas, yeah, I had just figured, and the only reason why I had any directional base level in Dallas was because we lived by a mall called Town East Mall in
Mhm.
Mesquite East. So I always knew that going to Mesquite and going to Town East Mall was going east. I always needed to go east to go home, to go to the mall. And that's how I taught my kids too. But from there, forget about it. Nope.
Oh
I,
my God.
I
We
drive
need
like
to just always have a compass on us. Like, where am I going?
I wouldn't pay attention to it. I'd be like, is my thing working? Okay, good. And then if I ever like if the apocalypse comes or whatever, then I got Magic Mike. He's the mountain man. He'll get me wherever. I'll be fine. But
There you go.
he goes, I'm screwed. I'll be like, just take me now. Feed him, just feed me to the wolves now. Not really, not that.
Yeah. Chris was definitely my directional man or my survival man. So I am seriously fucked if shit goes south. So,
Yeah. You
okay.
can if something happens to Chris, then you can come here with Raina, and then we can just be part of Magic Mike's parent, and he'll take care and fix everything. He's
I
already
love
all my
how
huh?
I love how we're just playing out the whole apocalypse and like what we're gonna do when it happens. It's just funny to me.
Well, you got to
It's
be
funny.
prepared, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
shit,
never know.
even if it's only in my imaginary mind, I need to know what's going to happen in my imaginary
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. 100%. Like actually, I'll be completely honest. Chris and I have already decided like if shit goes south, like I'm just going back and like we're just gonna be a family. Like just
Just
because
figure it out. Yeah.
he's he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to fish, he knows how to hunt, he knows how to build things,
Because that
you
point is
know.
straight up as survival. It's like, look,
He's a
emotion,
survivalist.
love, that shit doesn't matter. This is survival, and we need each other to survive. You need me to do the homie mother maker shit, take care of your kid. I need you to go do the manly fish hunt and
Yeah.
shit.
Go
Like
get me food and I'll take care of your house.
straight partnership, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've already got that down packed. Like we're
Yeah.
meeting at the house of Hesperia. Like that's it.
You know,
So
can I tell you, it took me 3 husbands to find a man that I felt safe with, that if I knew shit went down, I could survive.
yeah. Hey, I'm on one.
It took me 3. I usually tell people 2.5 because the second one was we were only actually married for 6 months. So I'm like, it's a half. It doesn't fully count. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna let
yeah.
no
That's a
parents
half a
like,
husband. Yeah.
respect tomato tomato. It's just 6 month whatever details.
Oh my God. Okay, focus. Okay.
Sorry, squirrel.
Squirrel. Okay, so this is another thing is like she asked me like if I knew people locally like that were witchy and I was like, well, honestly, I don't really know anybody too locally. I have a friend that's in Grand Rapids, but like I don't know anybody where I live because we were talking about how like I'm going to be kind of stuck, quote unquote, here at my mom's house for like at least another 6 months, if not longer. And so she was like, you're gonna I see you finding a circle of friends very local to you, like within your own community. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I wonder where that's gonna come from because like I live in fucking Bootyville, like
Where
it's
do you live? What town do you live in?
it's called Lowell. So like it's just outside of Grand Rapids, but it's like people literally for high school spirit week drive their tractors to school. Like that's how country it is out here,
I
you know?
love it. Well, see,
Yeah.
because stepmom, my parents just got back from Michigan. My aunt died, and my they lived in Grand Rapids, or they might have been in Jackson. I don't know. My stepmom grew up and went to school in Kalamazoo and stuff. So
Okay.
I've been
That's
there.
south of me.
Yeah. So I kind of know the area, but not
Hmm.
really. I went there a hand of times as a teenager. So, but I love it. It's beautiful. I definitely want to try to come up and visit you also one weekend too. Just also when it's cold. I don't do cold. Sorry.
Well, then
Circle
come
of
up this
friends.
summer. Come up this summer. I mean, I live with my parents, so we might have to get a hotel or something. But like,
Yeah.
come visit on a weekend and
I'll
we'll
hang out with
hang
the
out.
parents. I'll crash on the couch. I'll be cool.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Your parents
Um,
might be wondering why you're friends with somebody that's probably much closer to their age, but details.
oh, who cares? Who cares? No, honestly, being in AA, I have a lot of older friends. Like
Right.
not
Yeah.
maybe that I hang out with per
Yeah.
se,
Yeah.
but like they know that I have a lot of friends that are like their age or older
Yeah.
that I communicate with, you know. So it
I've always,
honestly probably wouldn't be weird to them.
yeah, that would make sense. I've always had older friends too. I've always dated. Why do I keep saying weird shit? I've always, well, dated as well too, I guess. But I've always had a mix of friends and people that I knew on all levels on but my stepmom thinks that it's weird and she thinks that it's inappropriate for me to be friends with anybody that's 5 years younger than me.
It's weird.
But yeah, we'll get into parent trauma shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a lot.
later.
It's a lot.
I got three of them to unpack. Actually, I have four technically because one is out of the picture. I have four to unpack.
I got four to unpack too, girl.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. So
So, uh one of the things she brought up was the circle of friends. And so I was thinking about it. I was like, I just did, and this was the day of the reading. So Thursday, I found out about a new metaphysical shop that's opening up in Lowell. So,
that's
like,
awesome.
yeah. And I found out that same day, that morning at therapy. And so I mentioned that to her, and she was just like, oh. And she said, I should go in there and see if I can work with them.
Yeah.
So, like, build a relationship. I might be
Mhm.
able to like work in the shop or just learn from the shop or
Mhm.
even do readings in the shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she said it won't be long because my shit, after I start that, my shit is just going to start coming. So there might be like a catalyst for me to
Hmm.
learn from. And what did she say? Oh, so my friend Taylor, I think I've mentioned her to you, maybe not, but she was the girl I went out with last night, and just my friend that I went out with
Yeah.
last night. And uh, I asked about her because I was thinking about possibly bringing her in as a partner in the
Yeah.
business. She's a Reiki practitioner slash energetic masseuse.
Hmm.
And so one of the things I was thinking about is like, having her rent a booth
Yeah.
there. But then
Yeah.
we talked more about it and we were just like, well, why not just work with me and like we can build this together.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to think that so we both started to agree that like I need to start it on my own, but then later might be able to come in as a partner and she can like be like my main Reiki practitioner in the beginning. Um, but I talked to
Base foundation. You can set the base building blocks. Oh, that just made me go back to the reading that I did for you a couple of weeks ago, where it was talking about building blocks. Remember? And
yeah,
we thought that it might have been talking specifically about the Chris situation, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just building blocks well, because it was talking about building blocks with you. So maybe this is one of those building blocks for you to
yeah,
get to that end result that you were looking for, and
yeah.
that was just a branch.
Maybe
That
we need to review that reading and just be like, look at it from the perspective of just me and my growth. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Um,
And I'm wondering now, looking back at it, that maybe, I mean, it was about you and your growth, but there's still going to be pieces of Chris in there. There's still going to be things that you guys have unsettled and are going to pop up, whatever. But if I recall correctly, is that the one that said that you had an unfinished symphony? So maybe, and we assumed that it was him, but maybe it's just some kind of closure still that you guys are going to come to so that you can go on with
uh,
the thing.
but hear this, okay? I'm gonna jump around in this reading.
Okay, we jump
Remember,
around all the fine. That's why I love having conversations with you because we can do that and we get each other.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So remember the reading I told you that Jessa gave me back and and for if we put this in for listeners, um, Jessa Reed is a stand-up comedian, but she also does podcasting about like woo things, kind of like what we're doing, but she does like energetic readings, blah 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 blah. She also does personal readings, and I got a reading from her
Dimensional being. She's an eighth dimensional being that's been placed here on this planet
to raise us up.
to raise us
Um,
aliens and teach us all the things.
so I got a reading from her back in November. And so this is where like the whole like unfinished business comes in. Jessa said that she sees Chris and I together 5 years down the road,
Right.
living in community-based living. Okay.
Right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
I never told Karen any of that, mind you. Okay. I didn't tell her about this reading. She says out of the blue, yeah, this divorce is really good for now, but I see you guys back together in 5 years,
Look
living in community based living. Bitch, what the fuck?
oh my gosh. And then yeah, because then yeah, you guys are going, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not trying to put too much stock into it, but like, how can I not with two long term readers,
Yes,
people who are very in touch with their
established.
intuition,
Yes, they
say
the
the exact same
exact same
fucking
thing.
thing?
Yeah, yeah. And like and I mean, and it's not like we know each of them, but they don't. It's not like they know us
They
enough
don't know
to know
us.
to. Hey, have you ever done a reading for Kenzie? Yeah,
Right.
have you ever
Thank
done
you.
it?
It's not
Like,
like they
it's
communicated
like
like,
they don't. Yeah, they don't put that together to figure it out. Like, yeah, it's
no.
so coincidence that, and it's so funny because I remember in that reading that I did for you too, the one card that kept popping up was look for the signs. You had it both on the unicorn card and then I think in the other oracle card that I pulled too. There was
Yeah.
two, I think that it said watch for signs, look for signs, see the signs, something
Mhm.
about the
Yeah.
signs. So
I don't know. So I just like that was part of what I wanted to tell you today, but because you
yeah,
were saying that, like I think right now we need to part ways. We
yeah,
need to, and she does talk about this. It's like this year is like a solo year for me to figure out my own independence, figure out who the fuck I am, do
mhm,
what I want to do, and that
mhm,
might be for the next 5 years, right?
yeah,
But she said that like, and I think I mentioned this to you before, is that like year nines are usually about like letting go of not what no, like
mhm,
what no longer serves us.
right, release, yeah,
But she said that my year nine is a very different. It's like the same but different. So she said there is a lot of letting go, but I'm also taking inventory of the things that are working for me and
yeah,
really setting the foundations for that,
yeah, yeah. Taking stock, that makes complete sense. That makes
Yeah.
complete.
So speaking of uh the divorce and Chris,
Mhm.
um she said that Chris and I through this process of marriage and divorce have finished a past life karmic cycle together. So we don't have to go through that like nasty karma anymore. We finished that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
You've finished that, so moves forward is just going to be fresh and anew, or whatever the next cycle is supposed to be. Makes
yeah.
sense.
And so then again, she said the divorce is right for right now. 5 years might be different. Um, like she could sense that like she felt like Chris was a very like magical person. And I feel that too, like a
Which I
very
was say
magical.
you've said that several times that there's something about him. There's something magical, but it's just
It's just under the surface. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and she could sense that too. And she was like, but he's just very emotionally detached and very emotionally unavailable. And so he's not in connection with his divine feminine. She didn't say this specifically, but this is what I got from it is like
information. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's not in connection with his divine feminine. So like his magic is there, but it's not out.
It's
So
yeah, it's under the debris.
yeah,
He's got to clear out the debris and the
yeah,
magic is what I just heard.
yeah. And so she sensed that there's like a lot of problems with family, and um she was seeing like a more masculine woman, and he was like, does he have a sister? And I said, no, he has four brothers. And she was just like, well, this must be his mom then. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like she's more on the masculine side. She's she just doesn't like do herself up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so, but she was saying she senses a lot of problems with that connection, and that there's gonna be like an ending of the chaos between them. And dependency. Like there's a lot of codependency between the two of them. Like he was kind of forced to be the man of the house very early in life.
yeah.
And he kind of took care of his mom, you know, and so there's this like deep connection that they have. And so one of the things that he runs into is really caring too much about his mother's opinion of things. And so she was saying that that was going to dissipate. Not that the relationship would dissipate, but like that the
The
chaos would.
the need of her approval and the need of the chaos that comes from him
Yeah.
trying to get approval or whatever. Yeah,
He's got to find, she said he's got to find his way without his mom.
yeah.
So, and right now he's very dependent on her. And
You know what?
so,
Go ahead. Sorry, I mean,
oh, well, you can talk about that because I'm going to move on to different stuff with the divorce.
well, I was just gonna say it was just weird that when you said that, it's like I heard this voice that was like, well, that's the same stuff that Tyler's going through. Like, just give him a space. I haven't heard from my son. It's been real weird, whatever. And
Yeah.
when you said that he needs to figure out how to be without his mom and how to figure out how to do him, someone said that's what Tyler's trying to do. So
Mm,
leave it be. And I was like, oh, okay, okay,
yeah. Well,
interesting.
yeah. You needed to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, okay, so then I asked about the house, and she said if he chooses to keep the house, because that's one thing that we've run into, it could need a lot of work. She said that she was seeing some stuff with like water issues,
Yeah,
and she kind of saw piping issues. Um, and she was kind of 50-50 on what was better, if it was better to sell or keep, because she did recognize the good in having the house during this, like, the fucking, what are we had like a 7-year process of
yeah.
everything, till 2027 type of thing. um but yeah, it's gonna cost him money, and he's gonna struggle. We talked about like the equity payments, and she said something about 2 years. So I'm assuming that means like it's gonna take him like 2 years to pay me the equity of the house. Um, and he can make the payments, but he's gonna struggle with that too. Um, he has a lot of pride with keeping the house. Like it's not like it's mine, I get to keep it. It's more like this is my house. Like I'm not giving it away. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to let go of this. He's like,
I Yeah, and I get that because that's very much how Michael was with this house with his divorce. So I get that man pride thing and not just like doing it out of resentment because she wanted to sell the house, but she wanted to sell the house because she just wanted the money out of it.
yeah.
And she wanted to sell the house even before the divorce, and he was like, and then what? She's like, and then we find someplace like we're gonna throw money to rent, and no, we're not selling, we're not selling the house.
Hmm.
She filed for divorce a couple years later, so it was null and void, whatever. But it's just so I can see where there's that attachment with him. But here's the thing: if it was an inconvenience with Vivian, the way that it is with um with Raina, he would have sold the house and moved closer. That's what he needed, like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked her, or she said, because I kind of explained the issue of like the inconvenience, and she was just like, well, I'm going to ask the cards if there's any persuading him. She's like, I don't know why I need to feel to look into this, but she did. And she was just like, yeah, there's no persuading him. Like he's got to make this decision to keep the house, and he's not seeing it clearly, but this is just where it's at, you know? And so sadly, he's going to have to live this experience of struggling financially, even though he's making double, almost triple what he was making before,
Did
you
he stay
know.
with that other job? Because I know that new job was going to be kind of like didn't start off so great, and he didn't know if did he stay there?
He's staying as of right now. I think he's going to see how it goes after the training process
Yeah.
because they said that he has to travel more during the training period. But we'll see, like if the boss like backs off and actually honors what he said he would do, then he'll stay.
Yeah.
But okay, so I jumped around. Okay, so um so
Surprise!
my friend my friend Taylor, um she tapped into her and she was saying that she could be a partner if that's what she chooses to do. She's really easygoing and a great person. Wait and see how it unfolds. But either way, if we do become a partnership or we just, she just works with me as like a Reiki practitioner, it's going to be a great friendship.
Yeah.
And she said, and I felt so good about this. She said she's quite an accomplished witch, as she will be, at least as she comes into her. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah, I see that. And one of the things that was really funny to me is that she's going through a divorce right now with her wife. And so she made this very specific distinction. She said, I really like Chris's energy. I don't like the ex wife's energy. I was like, okay.
Karen
Sorry.
said she is not a nice person.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
Yeah, and that's interesting how that she can pick up on that. And it's like, yeah, he's still a good person. He just needs to get it figured out. He just needs to go through his struggles. But it just,
Yeah.
but it is interesting. And then she's like, that is not a good person. No, 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 no.
Yeah. I told Taylor about that and she laughed so hard. Um, okay, so I asked about involvement with the committee.
Yeah. What did she say?
Alien, she said alien school this year is going to be fantastic. She already sees that. So that's awesome. But she said, I'm going to move away from it. I'm going to find some momentum and growth forward. I'm going to find my own group. And she said, year 2 or 3 of finding myself is when I'll be finding my own group. So like I'm in a year 9 right now. So she's saying year 1, kind of alone ish. I have like maybe local friends. Year 2 or 3 is when she sees me finding my own community based living
Mhm.
and or community whatever, maybe not community based living, but she said that there's like a hint of international to it.
Which I wonder if that has something to do with like, because Pip that comes in from the UK.
Yeah,
I'm
but
wondering
she's
if she's,
involved in ASFT, so like, but I do wonder, like, I do
but I'm
know
wondering if
people.
there's, but I'm wondering though if she might be bringing some other people with
Yeah,
her maybe this time, and maybe there's going to be something that branches off from that
yeah,
meet. I don't
yeah,
know. That was just something that I saw was that, oh no, Pip's coming, and there's somebody that's going to be with Pip that there's going to be that connection.
yeah. I have a feeling that whatever this group is that is created, I'm going to be a part of building it.
Mhm.
And it's going to be more personal starting off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's going to be like local people first and then it'll expand, like so
Redheaded stepchild hall pass.
yes, you got it all the time, girlfriend. Okay,
But
so
step fairy.
so it says she was talking about me specifically in a group. That's when she brought in like Chris might be a part of it. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then she said about me specifically, she says she asked me if I feel alone in a group, which is very accurate. I always feel very on the outside of a group. And I've always felt that way. And she said, find out how it's my superpower. She said, the don't belong, quote unquote, is a childhood wound, but it is a superpower. So, not getting swept up, I don't like get swept up in the ideas of a group. I can see things
Right,
from like a different perspective,
right. Yeah,
and I can help them slow down.
yeah.
So, uh, she said, I'm a troubleshooter
That
with
makes sense.
groups.
That makes sense.
And she said I have like one foot in the metaphysical world and one foot in the practical world. So
That's
like,
something that she said to me too. So maybe that's why we so, is
yeah,
because she said the same thing, very much so too, and in the metaphysical and very much in the healing and trying to figure out that healing side, but I'm still staying too grounded to the physical side, to the three-dimensional side. And then she
mm,
said, weird. So,
yeah,
so I just think that's interesting. That's something that, that we kind of have that. I don't know. Is that like a mirror? Maybe do we mirror each other on that or something? Or is it like, I don't know,
yeah,
just the same kind of soul tribe or like little, group of soldiers or whatever.
yeah. Little soldiers.
We're not
Um,
scary soldiers.
okay, so I don't know if I've said this to you, but like I have this like huge fear that I'm gonna be like pulled into a cult one day, and then I'm just gonna like I'm just gonna like not know what's happening. And so she like randomly brought up cults when we were talking about this, like, pulling people down and like,
Uh-huh.
helping them slow down. She brought up cults and um, she's like, you don't have to worry about cults. She's like, you dealt with that in a past life. You've already learned that lesson. And so now, like, that is my superpower, being able to see through the bullshit and see, like, oh, this is culty and
Do
pluck it
you
out.
feel That's awesome. So do you feel better knowing that you are no longer
Yeah.
susceptible to that and that you can be like, I can just flow and be like, yeah, yeah, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
Good. Nice.
And I
Nice.
won't say too much about this, but I think that's where the shift comes in for me.
Okay. Okay.
So, um, so the living situation. Um, Details have to be worked out. I'll be with my mom for a little bit longer, probably 6 months, if not longer. 2024, getting business start. I'll probably move in 2024, but getting the business started first is more important. So that's when she talked about like starting it at like 2023 or end of 2023. Um, Home will become more bearable. So she said, I may get friends locally. That's where the circle of friends come in. New shop in Lowell, question mark. Um, but she said that I will do better with people who are just like friends that are just dipping their toes in the metaphysical world.
Right.
Which is pretty accurate. Like every friend I have is very new to this world. Um,
Yeah.
and she brought up the hermit card because she said that right now that's where I'm at. I'm in this like hermit stage. But she said, I don't know why I need to tell you this, but hermits are not celibate. I was like, okay, Karen.
She said,
Literally.
she said, AKA, you need to go get you some dick.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something. It doesn't even need to be that. Look, it doesn't even need to be.
Nope.
I'm just saying.
I know. Okay, so she said that I need to see this like stay with my mom as like giving myself a break from like a lot of 3D things, like take advantage of things being taken off my mind.
Yeah.
And that I'm getting a new avatar and getting over the drama. So I'm just like learning how to like, you know.
Yeah.
But she said that I'm being pushed into a corner of doing what I want to do.
Nice.
So it's like pushed in a corner, but in a
Nice.
good way. Like, here,
Yeah.
this do it, you know? Um, and she said, I'm getting independence while living with my mom, finding out how to work in this space. And
Mhm.
she also said that I'm like healing a lot with my mom by living here, which I kind of already knew. Like, I think I'm like, I told her this too, is like, I think I'm kind of like waking my mom up
Yeah.
in a sense. But then, yeah, so I just need to get comfortable here. It's going to become more bearable, is what she was saying. Things will calm down, things will become healed, blah, blah, blah. And it already is becoming more bearable here. Like, we've had a lot of chaos ever since I moved in this house, but
Yeah.
like it's starting to chill out, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so then the last thing I asked about was Raina, and this is so cute. So she said she's a little wanderer. So so like the moving and living in multiple places, it's like chaotic for her right now, but it's not a big deal because she's a
Right.
wanderer at heart.
Right.
Um,
I can relate to that so
yeah,
full. Yeah.
same. I mean, our whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom
So
always used
like,
to say that we were born of gypsy blood. That's why we never stayed in one place for too long.
yeah, we said that shit too. um, so like in a past life, she moved around a lot, and so she's already used to that. And I was always afraid of like putting that burden on her because I never really had a sense of home,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. And
But
you're always the new kid. You never know.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks. Yeah.
yeah.
So I did the best of both worlds. Okay.
Tell me
I
about this.
stayed in the same city. I just moved different neighborhoods every year, but they always got to stay at the same school because their dad stayed. We just used their dad's address. So no matter where I would have to drive. So they still had the stability of the same school, but I had the luxury of not being tied down to the same house, the same place, whatever.
Hmm.
So I kind of managed because I wasn't going to take them away and do all that like I grew up with. So, but then as soon as Lily was old enough, deuces, bye bye.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're like, but we're so be moving around was so traumatizing. It was so unstable. Girl, kids, it could have been so much more unstable. They'd be thankful for the stability that you did have. We were
Right.
always together, all always under one roof. It was, never. I was never evicted or anything. It's just like, okay, the lease is up. I don't want to pay. I don't want to stay here. One of those
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. See, we like lost houses and stuff.
Yeah.
So like my mom lost two different houses when I was growing up. And like we lived out of a hotel for a hot minute. Like it was, it was rough. And it wasn't like any of their doing that I know of necessarily. It was more like the 2008 financial crisis. They fell into that
Right.
trap. My
Yeah.
stepdad got really sick, like there was just like a lot of things. Like there was a point where like my stepdad got really sick in 2009, and it was just after the financial crisis, right? And he was in and out of the hospital for like a year and a half, and
Mm.
like in ICU, nearly dying, and the my stepbrothers, their mom was still getting her full child support check, even though he was only getting 75% of his pay. And she never said anything about it. And we were obviously very distracted with my father almost dying, my stepdad. And she never said anything. And so, even though she knew what was going on, obviously, and so we ended up losing our house due to that. My mom was working two jobs. I was feeding myself every day, like I didn't have anyone to really watch me. I'd go to school, come home, nobody was home because my stepdad's in the hospital. My mom's working two jobs. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
like,
hard. I got bounced around. My parents divorced when I was 3, I think. And and my dad moved out of state, and so we moved around a lot. I never knew if I was gonna be with my dad or with my mom, or if I was gonna be with my grandparents or my aunt, or there was a lot of shifting, so I never had any stability and never knew where I was gonna be,
mhm.
and then is like, why doesn't anybody want me? Why can't I just be in one place? There's a lot of that. So there's a lot of abandonment stuff. So it's like to have a place with Michael that he makes me feel so safe. That's the first time I've ever felt safe anywhere with anyone. But
Mm.
that's a weird thing. And I've tried to sabotage it subconsciously a couple of times.
Oh yeah, that's what we do.
luckily, luckily, he calls me out on my bullshit. He's pretty tolerant of me. He
Yeah.
handles me very well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Mm.
Blech. Okay,
Yes,
so
coming.
like I said, she's stuck right now with all the changes because it's obviously very different, but like it's gonna be pretty soon where she just like gets used to this different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so she pulled the high priestess and the devil card for her. I thought that was a pretty
Talk,
interesting.
talk about yin and yang.
Yeah.
Gemini much? That's literally
Well,
what's screaming to me with that right there is like uber ultra Gemini. Ah,
I wonder, I'm gonna look at her chart because I wonder if she has some Gemini in her. But she's actually a Pisces, but her dad is a Gemini. So,
but isn't also the Pisces sign the two fish,
yeah.
which is yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
So, I'll just finish this while I'm looking up Raina's stuff, but she said it was really interesting that she chose a mother who was awake and a father who wasn't. Um, and but she did say that she's very free and awake already. Like she's a very free spirit, and which
Yeah.
I totally resonated with,
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah. You can see that just in her pictures. You can
yeah.
just I love looking at pictures because she's just such sunshine. It's so sad when she's so grumpy, and it's kind of funny when she's grumpy, but it's not. She is. She's just so yeah.
Bro, she has zero Gemini in her chart. Like not even like subplanets or anything. Zero Gemini. Like I don't know if you can see this. Fuck. It's probably not going to show up. There we go.
Oh yeah,
Uh
in,
Gemini is right up here. There's
yeah.
nothing.
Interesting.
Also, I found out that something to do with her north node and south node, I think.
Uh-huh. I
Or
can't.
no, I'm sorry, maybe this is her moon sign. Her moon sign um is something to do with your parents splitting up at an early age, and that it's like something that you had to deal with as a child, but like it helped you grow into something different. Like it's very specific.
Interesting. See, I need to
And
do more research on that. But my
yeah,
brain just like starts taking it in, and then it's like overload.
yeah,
Sure,
no,
like beep
it's a
beep
lot of
beep beep.
information. I take it in very slowly and I just like journal it down in my notebook so that I can like refer back to it and be like, oh, okay, so that's what that's for.
That's probably what I well, and here's the thing is that I have that and I start those ideas. And can I tell you, I'm not lying when I tell you that I have probably 8 different notebooks with stuff journaled and I'm like, okay, I need to compromise because I got a little bit of this here, a little bit of this here. I'm like, I need to
Yeah, like make one notebook for astrology, one notebook for human design, one notebook for
yeah.
fucking readings, one notebook for journaling.
I even got one little notebook. Look, I've got it right here. I even got one little notebook, like a small one that's got like all of the tabs so that I could do like all of the different subjects. And that didn't go as planned either.
You know, it's like crazy how alike you and I are. Like, I literally have like 5 notebooks going right now. And I cannot stick to like I have 2 main notebooks that I like try to do like readings and astrology in. And so I have to flip through the 2 different notebooks, figure out what time of year I was doing this because I write the date on everything. Figure out what time of year I was doing this. I'm like, oh, I can't find it in this time frame, so I got to go look at my other notebook, and I'm like, oh, there it is,
Yep, I've
every
also
time.
thought about pulling the pages together and then trying to sit down and put them in chronological order and look at all of the different pages and that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
told me when I was told him that we were going to do this. I said, Kinsey, sometimes it's almost like she's more my friend, but then sometimes I'm like, she's almost like she's my long lost daughter. Like, I think, you hear about babies getting switched at birth. I think my babies got switched at conception, and I think that Kinsey is actually my true daughter. I think I had a boy by mistake.
I love that.
And then
Yeah.
he just he just rolls his eyes, whatever. I'm like, you don't think I'm funny? Or I said something about one time I said, you don't find me entertaining. He goes, no, I find you entertaining. I just don't necessarily find you funny, but you're still entertaining. I'm like, I don't know whether to say thank you or fuck you.
Maybe both.
He just laughed. He's like,
That's
oh,
so funny.
oh,
So,
I talked to him about you guys coming, and he said, yeah, absolutely, cool, sure, no problem, no worries.
okay.
So
I
he,
I was talking. Sorry. Taylor is totally down. I have to find out from Mallory how much time she actually asked off.
okay,
So she said she can't remember if she called off for 4 or 5 days. And so if it is 5 days, then we will be able to come. But
okay.
if it's not, like she was talking about possibly driving at night through, but still we would be leaving Wednesday night, because she might have to work Wednesday. So
No, I have Wednesday off because the original dates included Wednesday.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think she said that that might have been a possibility too, because I don't know if she called off before the dates changed or after. And so
Okay.
she's not really sure if she called off for 4 or 5 days.
Well, Mallory, I'm gonna need you to check on that, please. Mallory, if you're listening. Oh, the call was done and over with now.
Well, hopefully we can get this out. I mean, this probably can't be our first episode though. No, I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no.
Maybe.
I'm sure there'll be splits and stuff like that. Like, you were talking about producing. And it's funny because Michael and I were talking one time, and one of the things, because he was into music and in the music scene and played music when he was a kid in Germany and had a band and they made a record and all that stuff. But he said one of his regrets in life is that he never got into music producing because that was something that he really wanted to do. So
Hmm.
my thought is, well, it's not music, but it's still producing. And I
Hmm.
can't pay you, but I can trade you in sexual favors.
Dude, but he could make our intro with like part of our conversation with music as an
Yes,
undertone. You know what
I
I mean?
yes, and I think that the problem is that I don't know if he is going to have the time to do it before July or August
Okay.
because we've got Viv this week. Then next week we've got to get stuff ready. Then we've got Vivian for the week, and then we're gone for 2 weeks for camp for our summer vacation. And then he's going to need at least a week to decompress. So it won't be until the last week of July before he even will be prepared to probably mentally think about it. But I will talk to him and kick it around with him though, and throw ideas
Hmm.
and spitball with him with stuff because I'm hoping too that maybe he can take like because even if we just like sit down and just be like, hey, what are you doing? You want to sit down and talk? And, so just a phone conversation and then just take pieces out of each because we bounce around so much just in our conversations that if he can take like two or three of our conversations and make an episode just about one specific thing, maybe not.
Hmm.
Or just have it be just the randomness of us. That works too. Whatever. I don't
I
know.
mean, I kind of like the randomness of us, but like it would be cool to have like shorts that we can put on, like if we decide to put this on YouTube, for example,
Yeah, yeah.
we can take shorts of different parts of our conversations and put that
And make
on
it like
there.
real. And then you can go, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, you have to listen to all the podcasts to get the contact of all the conversations. But here's
right.
like
But
basic.
that's even good for TikTok too, right? Like getting your name out there on TikTok is like having shorts from the episode for TikTok and Instagram, and you know what I mean? Like we were going to do all that stuff with Ethereal Soup and it just never worked out, but like we
Yeah,
only really recorded like 3 episodes and
yeah.
only two of them made it out. So
Here's the
it
thing.
is.
I'm going at this again with intention and not expectation.
Hmm.
I think that I feel like it's just kind of spaghetti model. Let's just start throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then pick up the stuff that falls on the floor and maybe throw it again and see if any of it might stick the second time.
Yeah.
Who knows? I will say though that maybe if we get a Patreon or something going, we have to schedule specific times that we actually provide videos,
Yeah.
video episodes. Um, I think just mostly just do podcast episodes and
Mhm.
then do Patreon or something where we do video releases. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to get to a Patreon level, like we would have to definitely have more days set and set times that we can do the recordings
Yeah,
because we're going to want stuff that we can put out publicly as well as, Patreon exclusive episodes, you
right,
know.
right.
But I mean,
And I
obviously
was
that's
thinking that
down
if
the road.
yeah, and maybe we can even like if there's things like if we get into stuff that's really just kind of deep that we're like, let's cut that combo and save that combo for someone
The
to pay for
Patreon.
our dirty secrets type thing,
Yeah.
like we can just have where we can just have our real conversations with each other and then just get, figure out, yeah, just pieces
Well,
to
I know there's going to be a lot of things that like I want to talk about
hmm
and get out and talk about my process of how I healed it
hmm
that I'm not necessarily ready for like the whole world to hear.
right.
So like shadow work, I think when we're talking about like severe traumas and stuff like that, I think that stuff should be Patreon exclusive
Yeah.
just because I don't want my mom or like my dad getting a hold of these episodes and you know
And also, I'm not, if we record something and you want to hold it and you decide not ever to put it out, like, don't ever, like, yeah, that's cool. We don't ever have to put anything out. But absolutely, it's a space that we can just talk and, like, put it out there. And then, should we decide that we're in a space and be like, okay, I think I'm good, but that other people can know this and it might help somebody else heal and help somebody else figure out their journey, you know. But if you don't
yeah,
ever get to that place, then you don't. I
right,
think so, yeah.
yeah.
Because
I
because something that's gonna be weird for me is I've never there's I was thinking about this the other day. Nobody knows my whole story. I don't even know. I have all of the pieces of the puzzle of my story, but I have never had the opportunity to sit down and put those puzzle pieces together. Does that
mm,
make sense? And figure and like share with them, be like, okay, and have somebody that understands and gets it and is kind of doing the same thing. And then
mhm.
and like, okay, this is how that affects me, and that's why I was such a shit ass, or why I did this, or why I did that. So let's figure out how to fix that.
You
But
know what
yeah,
I just pictured? Using that clip of what you just said as the intro to our stories.
okay.
You know?
You need to time mark it down. Is there a time mark on your end that you can time mark?
I don't fucking know.
It was the how are you gonna fix it? It was that did it, huh?
Uh, yeah, like cuz I can I'm so frustrated because like I wish I like was tech savvy because I have all these ideas in my head, you know what I mean? But like actually putting it to practice is a totally different story. Like I don't
Yeah,
have the editing software like I know you do cuz you downloaded some of it, but like I had Riverside FM or whatever it's called and
yeah,
like it looks like it would work really well because you can do that. You can hit time mark
yeah,
and you can, clip that part or
yeah.
whatever. But when I used it with Tiffany, it uh kept booting me out. So it would kick me off the call even though it was my own call.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I haven't had any luck with finding software that you oops. One day I'll quit knocking this thing, probably not. That we can find software to do like calls like this because like when my son and I were trying to figure it out, we couldn't really. We thought we found a couple things, and yeah, and it just this platform that we're using now just seemed to be the one that worked the best for it. It just
Mhm.
yeah. we started just audio recording our phone calls. We've got audio recorders, and we started downloading those, and we just had phone calls. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Hmm.
And again, one of those things that just wasn't supposed to happen yet.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
those recordings were just for you two, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Like
And
maybe
honestly,
there's something
I
for you two to listen back on.
and the interesting thing is that other than going back and listening to see if the initial audio quality was okay for the first few minutes, I haven't listened to any of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I should maybe I'll do that one day.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, but with this, because like I know with this you can download and save the meeting. And if you want to, once I figured out, I know Michael's got a good software on his computer too, and he did kind of quasi offer. I just need to mention it to him again. So if we just save him for now, and then we can just email him to him probably, and then, but
Okay.
let me do a couple more extra favors for him, and then I'll bring it up when he's good. He's and I say that he doesn't mind helping at all, and it's something that I think that he would be really interested in doing, and that I think that he would enjoy. He just has so many projects and so many things on his plate right now that his mind is just spinning, and he's just overwhelmed. He's gotten a couple of things ticked off of that list, and there's a couple more things coming this week. So I think after vacation, when the bulk of this other stuff is taken care of and done, he'll be better because it'll be like half of the list.
Yeah. Well, I
That was
think like one thing that we could do, and one thing that like um my old podcast partner and I did was we recorded like an intro of like what we want, like it was like an intro episode, so it was like a half hour long of like what we
yeah,
want to see out of this podcast. And then the second two episodes we had was like her story and then my story. And I was at a very different place, you know, when I recorded that. Like, and so it's really hard to like record your story because like things are changing all the time. But it
right,
was more like our awakening story, like a little bit about how we grew up, what we experienced, and blah, 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 blah. But the majority of it was like our awakening story, like how it happened,
right.
you know? And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. So
I feel
I,
like with us, with what I'm getting is that I feel like doing kind of the same thing of explaining us, but don't focus so much on the awakening, but more of we've been on this spiritual journey, and this is where we've been, and this is, where we are now. And,
mhm,
we just want to share our path and our journey, and the things that we're learning, and the things that we are continuing to learn every day,
mhm,
and just share it. So it's not just so much just like about awakening, it's included, but it's just about life shit and just incorporating it and figuring it out, figuring out how to be a good person, and that it's all shit and let's do it a different way. I don't
mhm. It's all shit. Let's do it a different way.
know.
Yes.
There's our intro right there. The theme of the podcast. It's all shit. Let's do it a different way.
Yeah. I love that so much. All right. Well, I
Yeah.
think we probably recorded like a good hour or something here. So I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
think so. And I think we got some good little sound bites, and I think it